Hello guys, welcome back to Pharma Palette. So today in this video we are going to enter into the unit 4 of human anatomy and physiology, where we will be learning about the peripheral nervous system, its classification. Specifically in this video we will also learn more about the spinal nerves, how many pairs are present, what are the basic functions of these spinal nerves in detail. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. So, before knowing about the peripheral nervous system, we have to know that the nervous system has been divided into two classes. So, one is the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. In the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord will be there. In the peripheral nervous system, spinal nerves and cranial nerves will be there. So, in the peripheral nervous system, so coming back to the peripheral nervous system, so this will be consisting of the nerves which are arising from the brain and spinal cord. Specifically, the cranial nerves will be arising from the brain and the spinal nerves will be arising from the spinal cord. And coming to its basic functions, this peripheral nervous system will be useful for connecting the CNS to organs, skin, and limbs. And also, this peripheral nervous system will be allowing the brain and spinal cord to send and receive the information from one part to the another part of the body. Coming back to the classification of peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system consists of two nerves, which is cranial nerves and the spinal nerves, which are arised from the brain and the spinal cord. And this is further divided into two. One is the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. In the somatic nervous system, it is specifically seen in the skeletal muscles, whereas this autonomic nervous system can be seen in the heart muscles, smooth muscles, and the glands. This autonomic nervous system is further divided into two. One is sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So coming to the sympathetic nervous system, this will be providing a fight and flight response, which is simply the active and alert responses produced by this. Whereas from the parasympathetic nervous system, this will be providing a rest and digest response. So that is all about the classification. Now, so consider this as a spinal cord. So normally the spinal nerves will be of 31 pairs. So first, let's see its divisions. So this orange colored part, we will be calling it as a cervical vertebrae. This pink colored part, we will be calling it as the thoracic vertebrae. And this blue colored portion, we will be calling it as a lumbar vertebrae. And this green colored portion, we will be calling it as a sacral vertebrae. Then the last yellow colored part, we will be calling it as coccygeal vertebrae. Spinal cord itself has been divided into five different portions. So one part is the cervical part, second one is the thoracic portion, third one is the lumbar, fourth one is the sacral, fifth one is the coccygeal portions. So these are having 31 pairs of spinal nerves. In that, first one is the cervical nerves, second one is the thoracic nerves, third one is the lumbar nerves, fourth one is the sacral nerves, and the fifth one is coccygeal nerves. The cervical nerves are starting from C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, and C8. So from C1 to C8, they come under the cervical nerves. And also, to be very specific with the position, C1, it is present in the head and neck region, whereas the C2 is present in the diaphragm region. Then C3 is present in the deltoids and biceps region. Then C4 can be seen in the wrist extenders. C5 position can be seen in the triceps. Then this C7 and C8 can be seen in the hand region. Coming to the second part, which is the thoracic part. So in the thoracic, this will be starting with T1 to T12. From T1 to T12, they will be coming under the thoracic part. So this is mainly seen in the chest muscles and also in the abdominal muscles. Then the third portion we will be calling it as the lumbar vertebrae. So which will be having the lumbar nerves in it, which is specifically seen in the leg muscles. This will be starting from L1 to L5. So L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5 comes under this lumbar vertebrae. So L1 to L5 are the lumbar nerves. Then we have the sacral nerves. So which will be starting from S1 to S5. So from S1 to S5 they are called as the sacral nerves, and these are specifically present in the areas bowel and bladder areas. Bowel, bladder, and also used in certain sexual functions. Fine. Then the last one we will be calling it as a coccygeal. It is only one vertebrae present here. That is the last one, which is coccygeal, which is also called as a tailbone. Now let's try to know its origin. So each spinal nerve will be formed by the union of two roots. So those two roots are, one is the posterior root, which is also called as the dorsal root, and the other one will be the anterior root, which is also called as the ventral root. In the posterior roots, mostly the sensory fibers will be present, whereas in the anterior root, the motor fibers will be present. This posterior root is also having a dorsal root ganglion. So these two roots, they will be getting united near the intervertebral foramen. In the intervertebral foramen, they will be getting united to form a spinal nerve. Back to its definition. So remember only one thing, that this will be arising from the spinal cord. So this will be having 31 pairs in it. And all the nerves are mixed nerves. And they will be carrying the sensory, motor and the autonomic fibers with it. Then coming back to its functions, as these are the mixed nerves, they can perform three different functions. So first one is sensory function. Sensory function basically includes the sensations, especially the pain, touch, temperature, sensations from the skin, muscle, joints to the spinal cord will be known. And second one will be the motor function. Motor function basically includes the it will be supplied to the skeletal muscles, and this will be providing the voluntary movements. Then third one is the autonomic functions. So in the autonomic functions, this is supplied to the sweat glands, blood vessels. This will be regulating the involuntary activities. So, if a question is asked stating that write in detail about the spinal nerves, so you have to start with the definition. So, what you will write first thing is about the spinal nerves. So, spinal nerves, they are arising from the spinal cord. So, there are of 31 pairs included, and all among these are the mixed nerves only. So, they will be carrying the sensory, motor and the autonomic fibers with it. So write this point. Then next one, you will be writing its origin. So in the origin, you have to include that each spinal nerve will be formed by the union of two roots. So those two roots are, one is the posterior root and the other one is anterior root. Posterior root is also called as dorsal root. Anterior root is also called as a ventral root. posterior root will be consisting of the sensory fibers, whereas this anterior root will be consisting of the motor fibers. So both these roots will be united together near the intervertebral foramen in order to form the spinal nerves. Then after writing the origin, you will be entering into the classification. So in the classification, you have to mention the region and the number of vertebrae present. So in the region, you will be mentioning that these are divided into 5 different regions. So one is the cervical region, thoracic region, lumbar, sacral and coccygeal. So in the cervical region, this will start from C1 to C8. Thoracic region starts from T1 to T12. Lumbar region starts from L1 to L5. Sacral region starts from S1 to S5. And coccygeal is only 1. So CO1 will be present. So write its number and the region in the classification. Now after the classification, if possible, you can also mention this where are these each vertebrae present. Then afterwards you will be entering into the functions. In the functions, these are having 3 main functions. Because all of these are mixed nerves, they will be performing sensory function, motor function and autonomic function. In the sensory functions, they will be useful for knowing the sensations like pain or touch, temperature, sensations from the skin, muscle, joints to the spinal cord will be known. And second one is the motor functions. So this will be supplied to the skeletal muscles. They will be providing the voluntary movements. Then the third one is the autonomic. In the autonomic, these are supplied to the sweat glands, blood vessels. Thereby, they will be regulating the involuntary activities. So you will start with its definition, then the origin, then about the classification, diagram if possible, then you will be ending the answer with the functions. I hope this video is clear, where we have discussed about the peripheral nervous system, its classification, and specifically about the spinal nerves in detail. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Pharma Palette. See you all in the next video and thanks for watching.